Garry Kerr joins me this morning. Garry is the upper house candidate for the Western Victoria region. Garry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good, thank you. I suppose first and foremost, what does the Country Alliance Party represent? Who do they represent?
Well, basically, Country Alliance represents country people. We're a party for country people, and we believe that regional areas and country people aren't getting a fair go, especially from our politicians today.
Okay, you've been around for 8 years.
Yep.
And there has been some movement. You were telling me off air that you've managed to help a few people get over with your preferences and things like that, and changed a few things.
Yeah, well, Country Alliance, as you said, has been around for 8 years. Originally we ran just 3 upper house candidates in the election, not last election before that, state election.
Yeah.
The last state election we ran 3 upper house candidates and 29 lower house candidates. We got somewhere around about the 43,000 mark in votes, and also we ended up with 3 upper house candidates that missed out 1,000 or less votes of getting into the upper house. Okay. So it makes us fairly relevant now. We're probably about the 5th largest party in Victoria.
All right. How many members?
Signed up members, we've got well over 1,000 signed up members. But obviously there's a lot of people know about Country Alliance, as you know, we represent farmers, we represent forestry, we represent all recreational pursuits. And you know, we believe obviously in a very sustainable environment and a managed environment. So in other words, we don't believe in locking people out of those areas.
The question that comes to mind is, and it's one that I hear quite often as well, and I see it for myself, of course, when you listen to some politicians, whether they're in Canberra or whether they're touring around, you do get the feeling that quite often a lot of the commentary is city-centric. Well, that's one of the reasons we exist. We also believe that. It is very city-centric. The politicians over the last few elections, as we've seen in our federal government, have pandered to the Greens as such, and we've seen what that's led to. The Greens do have a place. Unfortunately, I think they've gone too far in one direction, which really doesn't do them any good. But look, we're there to make sure that, as I said, country people get representation, real representation, and we listen to people, we talk to them. We've spoken to the likes of dairy farmers, Farm Power. We're in the process of working out a dairy policy with them. They're suffering quite substantially, obviously because of the farm gate price. But I noticed with interest this morning that Woolworths have now come out and admitted that they actually are having an impact on the dairy farmers because of the farm gate price. And they're looking at a new way of going, of bypassing the processes and dealing direct with dairy farmers. Do a lot of farmers know about you though? In the Western District, they're really starting to learn about us a lot more. I actually stood the last state election in Polworth, and I got the highest votes of a Country Alliance candidate. You're not local though, are you? I live in Torquay. I'm up here, obviously being the upper house candidate, or nominated upper house candidate for the Western District. It's a huge area, and it doesn't matter where you live, whether you live in Ballarat, Horsham, Warrnambool. It is. You're right. Yeah, the Western District is a big area. It's big, and you've got to be able to get out and cover that, and that's what I've been devoting the next 19 months before the state election doing so. Okay. So if you got somebody in the federal election, or is it the state election that you'll be looking at, which is next year, obviously, but or is it the federal election that you're focusing on? The federal election, we've got a Senate candidate standing by the name of Andrew Jones. Yeah. He'll be standing for Country Alliance. You'll actually see my ticket appear on that. I'm number 2 on the ticket supporting him. But my personal goal is the state parliament. Yes. That's where I want to end up. But as I said, I've fought environmental battles down in my region, in the Geelong region. What sort of battles are those? We had a problem with the Anglesea River, when it got wiped out and all the plants and fish got killed. And we've managed to make a few changes down there. We've got some more coming along, which will help improve that and maybe prevent it. All along the coast, we've had different rivers that have been impacted upon. As far as from a recreational fishing viewpoint, our marine parks do not address the problem.
Our problems are our estuary streams and feed-ins.
Okay. Would I be right in suggesting, given that you obviously focus a lot on farmers, that one of your main policies would obviously be the environment? Would that be right?
Yeah, look, as I said, we totally believe in a sustainable environment, but a well-managed environment, not one that's knee-jerk reaction. We believe, we have to have scientific evidence and proof of what adjustments we need to make. We believe in dams, for argument's sake. We want to see more dams built. We don't have to rely on like a desal plant, and we know what that's costing us now. I think it's $53 million, and taxpayers got to keep paying for that.
Yeah. Well, that's a plant we haven't used.
Yeah, I know. It hasn't even... Well, I'm not sure if that's actually come along. I heard some water had come from it, but it's costing Victorians every day. It's sitting there. Yeah. And that's something we should never, ever forget. And that was, once again, a knee-jerk reaction, because remember, it was never going to rain again.
And do you have policies in place? I mean...
If people want to see the policies we do have in place, they can go to our website. If you just Google Country Alliance, you'll find it.
Okay. So environment's one of them. What's some of the others?
Education. The TAFE funding has been a major concern for us. We want to see, young people in the bush get fair opportunity. Make sure that they can take a career and more importantly, stay in the bush. When I was at the Farm Power meeting, they had 6 people stand up that were all under the age of 30 out of 600. So we've lost a generation of farmers, basically.
Wind power has been an issue that's been quite divisive in the past, hasn't it? What's your feelings and views? What's the party's views on wind power, for example?
Well, my personal view on wind power is that wind power cannot fulfil the baseload requirements we have. And until we come up with a solution to that, we have no option but to continue how we are. But that doesn't mean we can't have better requirements from those companies that mine for brown coal. Most people don't seem to realise that in Victoria we burn brown coal, not black, and that actually costs more per tonne to burn, especially with the CO2, the carbon tax. But those plants and those operators can be made to operate a lot better than what they are, and put more restrictions on to make sure they meet the environmental standards that we expect.
Okay, on education?
Education, as I said, we want to definitely see people and young people in the bush get a real opportunity to learn trades. We need more and more people in the bush trades. Also, we need better infrastructure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wish you all the best, along with all the other candidates. It's a hard road in politics. How long have you been involved?
I've been involved now with Country Alliance for 5 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, as we don't have anyone in power at the moment or in Parliament, everything that Country Alliance boys do is all out of their own pocket. We have to obviously raise our own funds. We pay our candidates to go out, and to be here today, I've actually had to close my business because I think it's important we get the message out of our Country Alliance. And I'm a small business owner. I run a tackle store in Anglesey. And it's just small businesses copping in the neck. Retail is not really crash on at the moment. We've got, internet, buying on the internet, which does affect retail, especially small retailers. People need to realise that if we lose the small retailers in the smaller towns, then you don't have an infrastructure like we don't.
You can't stop people buying their product through the internet, though. Either.
No, you can't do that. But there has to be some sort of balance. It's important, like in our community, we donate goods to charities, things. Now, if we can't survive, we walk away, then those charities also and other organisations also don't benefit from our donation.
No, that's true. And the other thing, of course, is that this country relies, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this, country relies on small businesses because they employ people.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And in the regional areas, it's even more important that we maintain our small business because they're the engine room. Yeah. We lose them, the towns get into trouble. There's one small business I know of, I won't mention names, but they're in a local country town, been in operation for 18 odd years, and they're in trouble for the first time.
Well, it's good to meet you. I don't envy anybody that decides to make a choice in going to politics these days because it's it's more cutthroat than some of the big corporations and the businesses that I see around me, but all the very best with it.
Thank you, Mike, for your time and your listeners.
Good to talk to you this morning. Garry Kerr, who's Upper House candidate for West